Hi guys, I'm Ray Parler from Arsenal and England. Please watch Sportsfield.
Let me introduce my guest now. Tony Ubani is here. Tony, welcome to Sportsview.
Thank you so much, George, and honestly, I'm delighted to have one of the most exciting players of our time, for the Super Eagles. Somebody, we're just talking off camera, how exciting he is or was in and outside the pitch. And I think it's a very good thing now that he's here and he's going to take questions on the World Cup that we're counting down to George.
All right, Tony has led the cat out of the bag already, talking about Waidi, Akanni, a man with panache. We were just saying off camera that it's all about style. He was stylish when he was playing for Nigeria, and he has remained stylish, so to speak, up to today. Why do you welcome to Sports?
Thank you, George. Always happy to be here whenever you call me. I'm always very happy. Of course, Tony, nice to meet you again.
Thank you. You're welcome.
It's my pleasure. 18 days to go. I mean, we're just talking about a few days now to walk up, less than 3 weeks, so to speak, and we are preparing very well, talking about our own Super Eagles. Tomorrow we'll be talking about an international friendly against Dr. Congo, DR Congo, and that will be at the Liberation Stadium, or Adoke Amesebeka Stadium in Port Harcourt. That will be the farewell game. Tony, the game against DR Congo.
George, it's going to be a game beyond games. It's going to be a farewell game. It's going to be a game that Nigerians will want to see, and of course, judge their players. And it's going to be a game too that so many people will want to identify to come and see the ambassadors play. It's a game that is organized, just to say bye-bye and perhaps, do some things. And it's a game too that we know that the governor of Rivers State, the one they call POS, Power of Sports.
Yes,
Governor Wike, he says he's going to spoil the
Power of Sports, empowering Eagles before
Power
the
of Sports. He says he's going to spoil the
Eagles.
Super Eagles. So there are so many things about that match, George. It's a game that we want to see and say that we saw these players when we begin to see them on television when they are confronted big giants like Argentina, and of course perhaps teaching Croatia and others lessons in the World Cup.
Okay, one good thing about the Port Harcourt show, Waidi, is that NFF, they are introducing innovations and all that. We're not just talking about football later in the day. We're even talking about a town hall meeting that will be taking place at the Meridian Hotel out there in Port Harcourt. That will come up first in the morning, and then Nigerians will be able to see these players, talk to them at that town hall. In fact, they are bringing some musicians, comedians, and all that to be part of the show. I think this is a good one coming from.
Well, there's no doubt about that. I think it's a welcome one. It's done abroad. You don't just write a list of players you're taking to the World Cup and then somebody flies it all around. This is meeting the players one-on-one. And of course, like Tony said, you have to have a ground for these events. Port Harcourt is a ground for this event, and of course the governor has been very supportive. So we must thank Port Harcourt. Rivers State Governor, Governor Nyesom Wike, for actually accepting to do this for 180 million people. A lot of people are interested in that game against Congo, and for NFF to have actually brought this new innovation is also a good one. And I think more of this is what we need in Nigerian football.
As we speak now, beyond Eagles, Argentina have released their final 23-man squad, and Iceland has equally done the same. Why? If you look at my producer, he's giving us the list of the Argentines there and that of Iceland. Are you really scared of the Argentines and the Iceland team and all that?
Well, I don't think anybody should be scared. Nigeria were a different nation. Not releasing our 23-man list as at now does not mean much as far as I'm concerned. The coach must perfect his tactics. He must perfect, the training methods for the boys, and I think that's what he's doing, because that's very key to the coach. Everybody is looking at Nigeria, Argentina. You must be ready, and I think the coach is being very smart by keeping these 30 players so far to see them in the next 2 or 3 friendly games, and then of course then he can then make up his mind to know who fits into his tactics.
And those that will be dropped eventually.
No, tactically it's very important for him. There are a couple of players we cannot play together. There are some players we can play together. So he must have those variations. He must have those systems in place before he announces his list, and I think that's what he's doing.
Okay, we'll put our fingers crossed and see what General will come up with after the game against England. It is good that the players are in high spirit. We expect them to be, because they are already getting alert. the president of NFF said 2.8 million naira dollars have started hitting the account of these players,
Yes.
so that they will be counting money as they did in Brazil.
Well, it's always the case, if you don't plan very well. Again, kudos to the Federation President and his members to have actually gone out to make sure that these things will be taken care of. Monies are very important, especially during World Cup. And if you can take care of this, then you now need to go another step and do something important, getting the players in the right mind of set. Say in their right mind. So to make sure that when the tournament starts properly, they can come out and deliver.
But Tony, this can equally boomerang because if you have been paid upfront, I hope these players will be willing to come out and fight.
Yeah, George, I agree with you. Psychologically, there are two ends, to...
Yeah, two sides to a coin,
even to a razor blade. If you do not know how to handle it well, it will be an instrument against you. But I think the important thing is that, George, the world have come to realize or associate Nigeria with negativities. Once there is a World Cup, everybody believes that the Nigerian players are going to cause an embarrassment again of, talking about money. Either we are flying a whole money, millions, by air, just to go and settle players, or the players will stay awake and be counting money. In all these World Cups, George, we were there, and I think it's not something funny. But importantly is the fact that Nigeria has been able to settle. The table has been turned. Everything is settled now. The players are focused. They know exactly what is due to them. And when you talk about even flying to the World Cup, George, the Nigerian Football Federation are bringing jets. Real Madrid, the same jet that converts Real Madrid to all their matches, that's exactly the jet that Team Nigeria will be using to go to the World Cup. I think the Nigerian Football Federation, outside the pitch, have done absolutely so well, and it's time that the players themselves have to pay back Nigerians for all this that they have done.
Okay, we hope the players will pay back Nigerians, but we're taking a very young team to the World Cup. Waidi, if you look at the 30-man professional list released by Genotra, only 6 of those players have been to the World Cup before. We'll have a young team, apart from 6 players actually that have been there before. How do you think these players will have stage fright and all that?
No, I really don't think so. These are players. If you look at them, most of them are even born in Europe. Maybe not many of them, but I think they've got the experience playing for club sides. That will really count. Playing abroad also means a lot to everybody that comes to that World Cup. Imagine if you take players locally to a World Cup stage. That's where that fright, comes in. But it will be all of these players. They play in Europe, so they know these players one-on-one. They've played against them.
Okay, Waidi, let's take the departments one after the other.
Right.
We'll have 4 goalkeepers, 1 will go. Who do you think will be dropped?
Well, I'll be honest with you, people have asked me that question. I think Genetro has been very smart. He's got 4 good goalkeepers. Unluckily, probably it will be Ajiboye. As far as from the recent...
Okay, if it is Ajiboye, the other 3, are you comfortable with them?
Of course,
That
yes.
is one department that Nigerians are worried.
You know why I'm not worried too much? Because these goalkeepers actually got us into the World Cup. And then, it's not going to, it will be a different stage, but of course, as an ex-player, you always have to build your confidence up. That's what we need to do to this goalkeeper. Build them up and then make sure that when they play, they get them, they are in the right mind, and then they can deliver.
Okay, in the defense, apart from Oyibo, Leo Balogun and Trosekong, who do you think will go?
Well, obviously, we've had competition on the left side, the left full back, because Echejile has not been doing very well, maybe because of one or two reasons. I think he also made the team. Having said that, I think Awazim probably might not.
Tyrone
Ebuehi will make that team because he can play from right. I've seen him play on the right, and then maybe he can also play in the midfield as well. And of course, we have the Idowu from Russia that has actually played 2 games, and then I think the coach was satisfied. So probably Awazi might not make that team.
Okay, Tony, let's come to the engine room, the midfield. You have Joel Obi looking to get a place. You have Abo looking to have a place. Where you have Ogeyo Onazi and Mikel Obi. So who do you think will drop in that midfield?
George, it's going to be pretty difficult, but we do know that the known players like Mikel, Onazi, definitely are sure bankers, and Didi are sure bankers. I'm not comfortable that Joel will be because of his too much holding to the ball. Will pick a shot.
Okay, then in the attack, which is another area.
Right, the attack is very obvious. We have to have Odion. That's our main man. The reason being, he combines well with Mikel. If you see the last game they played, Mick, you can tell that these 2 guys are probably the 2-point guys that we have to have in that team playing any game at all. Of course, there's Moses. There's
Kelechi
Iheanacho, there's Iwobi, there's the other Simon, which I think is also very an enterprising
What of
player.
Simi?
Well, I've not seen him play that much. I think it will be an experience for him just coming through the camp. I'm not sure he will make
Gideon
that team.
Lokosa.
Lokosa being the local player, like I said again, good player so far. His record very good, but I believe, it will be a good experience for him going through this camping as well.
Okay, we'll put our fingers crossed, but General will not come out with the 23-man list until after the game against the Trey Lions. Then on June 4, he is condemned, so to speak, to release his 23-man list. Let's take another break now. I hope you enjoyed it. It is Sportsfield. Well, before we go, let's tell you that things are not happening just in football alone. The Sports Minister Solomon Dalong was in Lagos within the week. That was precisely on Thursday, and he said steps will soon be taken to end the crisis that is rocking Nigerian basketball. Tony, you were there.
Yeah, George, I think the festering crisis in basketball, was particularly mentioned by the minister. He says, and blamed this squarely on FIBA.
FIBA.
That's the basketball controlling body, and indeed says that they are going to take action. Anything concerning Nigeria that is in basketball, that means the Tijani Umar camp will not be comfortable with it. He came out bluntly
said
and
security agencies will be
security agents are going to swoop on them, and then, so that they surrender. And more so, another pertinent thing that he mentioned was on Kwesi, the sponsors, that the sponsors themselves are going to, be answering questions, because, the more they put money into that camp, the more, they somehow engineer it. For
crisis.
him, the minister was outright when he says he recognizes the Kida group,
camp.
and we do not know how this is going to pan out.
Okay, well, Tony, we pray that the team works out, pans out well, because our friend Yeka Dedikpe is here in the studio. We say thanks to him, and he was so passionate that we talk about basketball on the show here, because he's somebody that is more interested in basketball. And Dedikpe just reminded me that there is need to resolve Nigerian basketball crisis, because we'll have the World Championship coming up in Tenerife, Spain later in the year. So we cannot go with a divided house. The same way we want Eagles to do well, that is the same way we want our guests to do well in Spain. Waidi, thank you for coming to the show.
Always my pleasure. A big thank you to both Uyo State government and River State government, for accepting and doing so much for Super Eagles. I think these are the kind of governors that we need in Nigeria. Ex-players, on behalf of them as well, we say big thank you to Federation. Big thanks to those governors, Governor Wiki and of course Governor Udom Emmanuel.
Yes, before we go, let me put him on the spot. Where do you think the Super Eagles will get to?
Well, I'll be honest with you. Second round, quarterfinals will be something good that we'll always cherish.
You won't say you don't believe that the Super Eagles can win the World Cup?
If you look at the whole world, look at the countries coming up, Brazil, Germany, everybody, they got world-class players. Just not that we don't have,
yes.
But are we at that level yet? Of course not. So my take is that quarterfinals will be better for Nigeria.
All right, YD is being more realistic. Quarterfinals will be the more realistic, but we can just go all the way and win the World Cup. This is our belief, and let us believe that we can do it. That's the show. But before we go, let's say a big shout out to all the children out there. It is Children's Day. We say happy Children's to our kids. I hope Daddy and Mommy will take you to ShopRite and different other places. We'll see you next week. Bye bye and God bless.